Hello, 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 and welcome back to Psychology Eats. So, what's eating you? Well, as you can see from the video, I am back again to talk about Mr. Walter, Beloved Life's brother. And I'm going to explain why I think Walter is not going to be getting an apartment. Everyone in there's been so many videos about this whole issue with Walter and Adrian and all of the mess. We all know the mess. But a lot of what has been talked about is why Walter won't just get his own apartment. Like for most of us, it seems so simple. But if you go back to my original video when I diagnosed Walter, I told you that I believed he had PTSD, right? And so when I look at him making this, kind of moving through life and where he is in his life, it makes sense why he's a 40-something-year-old man with no car, no apartment, and now actually has the financial means to obtain those things, but he still doesn't have it. So this is my assessment. Here's my disclaimer. Obviously, I've never met Walt. I don't know his entire history, his life history. I am only going by what he has disclosed on his YouTube channel. Okay? So, why I think Walter is not getting his own apartment and why he kind of he's wandering from place to place. One YouTuber referred to him as a hobo, which I cracked up because I haven't heard that saying in so long. But I think she was onto something. He's very hobo-ish. But there's a reason. In psychology, we're always looking for the why. Why is he showing this kind of behavior? Why does he think in this way? So here is what I believe is the why. We have to look at nature versus nurture. So all of us are genetically made up, and then we are also environmentally made up. So we are who we are because of genetics and the environment in which we were raised. So when you look at Walter, what we know is that his father had multiple children with multiple women. So his father, to me, from what it sounds like, his father kind of went from woman to woman, dropping his seed, going to another woman, dropping his seed, going to another woman. Hobo behavior, right? Now, I don't know if Dad had a home and he kind of did his own thing with these women and came back to his home. I don't know that. But if we look at the behavior, like he's dropping seeds, he's going from home to home. So that's the genetic piece that Walter is dealing with. You even look at Beloved. Since she's been a YouTuber, I think she's moved like 3 or 4 times, right? You look at her son Dalvin. He's moved several times. He's in a big brand new house right now that he just purchased a few months ago, and he's already saying he's moving. So there's some genetic link for that family to kind of wander around, not being settled, and really not being very connected to where they're living. They can kind of just pick up and go and start all over again. And I think if we follow the genetic link, it goes back to the father. Okay? Also, we look at the nurture, the environment, right? So why Walt won't get his own apartment? Well, in his environment and where he was raised, he was traumatized. He was shot 13 times. Um, and as a result of that, that changed his whole life. And so he could have some fear of living alone, which makes sense why he kind of goes from home to home. If we look at the timeline, we got to know Walt when he went to visit Beloved January 2020. He went back to Milwaukee where he was staying with the two kids. He calls them his nephews, Day Day and Dee or Dada or somebody. His two nephews. He was in that apartment, and it seemed like he lived there because he would always do his mukbangs there in the beginning. Then he moved with Cindy. Like, he jumped on that. Cindy was like, come to Tennessee. Once I get rid of this man, you can come on in. And Walt was like, bet, all right. Walt moved to Tennessee. That hobo mentality, that, I'm going, oh, I got an opportunity over here, I'm out. Then after the Cindy thing fell apart, he put everything he owned in a bag. Now at this point, Walter has been on YouTube for a year and he's making a bag. So he has enough money for first month's rent and security and a monthly rent. But what's stopping him? Nature versus nurture. Okay. So then he comes back and then he moves in with Adrian. Now he already has enough information on Adrian to know that that was not going to work out. However, he still moved forward with that. Okay? Even though he's talking about moving to Vegas. Okay, then he went with Adrian to Florida, never intended to stay there, but I think, he's kind of like someone said, he got that hobo mentality. Let's say Florida would have said, okay, you can smoke weed here, you can buy weed here, everything's good. Walt would have been like, oh, okay, I'll stay in Florida then, right? Even though, because he's really moving to Vegas because he can smoke. That is legal there, right? You're a 40-something-year-old man and you're making a life decision based on the fact that you can smoke legally. Okay. So then after he left Florida, which I wanted to shout out the channel that does the videos with the bus leaving. I think it's the T or something. Hysterical. But after he left Florida, and now he's in Milwaukee or Chicago, I'm not sure, with this lady named genuinely Nisha. Once again, it appears that he's living there. Walt has made plenty of money to get his own apartment. Beloved would never see her brother in the street. She would have financed an apartment. Hell, she got an apartment in Atlanta that she's not even in most of the time. He could go live there. So, I believe Walt does not have his own apartment. Walt is not getting his own apartment. And a lot of it, excuse me, has to do with the fact of his trauma and his genetics. Genetically, daddy was a hobo. Allegedly, maybe, because he dropped the seed all over the place. So you got to be sticking and moving to do that. And I think Walt inherited a lot of that trait. And from his environment, shot 13 times, you don't get over something like that. You have to learn how to deal with that kind of trauma and manage the fear, the anger, the depression. And for some people, they don't want to be alone. And so for Walt, even if I have to move with strangers or live in a situation, with kids that, then he'll do that just because he doesn't want to be alone, which makes sense. So that's it for Walter and why Walt does not have his own place. Um, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And to all my new subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome to Psychology Eats. And in the comments, let me know who else you want me to analyze. Thank you.